Another thing that I wanted to share is um, a very big war. It could be bigger than the world wars, which where God is saying that um, one third of humanity will be killed. Hello guys, I'm brother Ismael Tuazon, and I'm here again right now to discuss some things with you. Some deep secrets that you did not know. Okay, so um, one thing I want to discuss is what what could happen on this new year 2022. As you know that COVID-19 pandemic hits the world. Before it sounds impossible, but now we know that it happened, and until now it's here. It's not going away. But the truth is, I've shared this before. This is written on this amazing book which is called Holy Bible. I will share the verse here.
What did Jesus Christ prophesied 2,000 years ago? Matthew 24:21-22. For then there will be great distress, unequaled from the beginning of the world until now and never to be equaled again. If those days had not been cut short, no one would survive, but for the sake of the elect those days will be shortened. Points to consider. There will be great global distress. It will be unequaled from the beginning of the world until now. It will never to be equaled again. Heaven will shorten the days of this worldwide great distress. For the sake of the elect or God's children, those days will be shortened.
And so the question is, what could be the next? You know, all these bad effects of COVID-19. But what else? What else is the Holy Bible telling to us? Because the Holy Bible are prophecies from God. Prophecies means God already told to us what will happen in our history. It's already written there. And so, what else is written there in the Holy Bible that we should know? Okay, so I'm gonna share you things which could be very frightening or terrible, but this is knowledge, this is secret knowledge. I'm gonna tell you right now. To understand the Holy Bible is a gift, and God revealed to me these things. It's not from me. God revealed this to me. God has a way to reveal these things, and it was revealed to me. Okay. So one thing that's going to happen is um, what it seems to be uh, like a third world war, or maybe worse. Okay, so hello guys. I got to admit that these parts of the Holy Bible is one of the hardest to explain, because God put these parts of the revelation in very deep secrecy, so that only His true servant will be going to teach it to the people. of this earth. And so, before we can talk about that great war that will kill 1/3 of the population on earth, as you can see, it's not a joke, it's not a simple thing. 1/3 of human population will die according to the Holy Bible. So, it's a very big issue. It's a very serious event. And so I will try to teach you as carefully as I can what God revealed to me. So before we go to that part, we cannot avoid to study this first because it's part of it. So as you see on the screen, I'm showing to you Revelation 9:1-2, New Living Translation. You can search this in Google. This is the last book of the Holy Bible, where God is telling to us what will happen in our future. As I have said, the history of our whole planet Earth is already written. God, the alien being, I'm always telling the alien being, God is an alien being, already told to us the future. It's written here on this book, the Holy Bible. Okay, so let's start reading it. The fifth trumpet brings the first terror. As I have told you from the previous video, there's an angels in heaven, which are servants of God, and they're blowing a trumpet. And every time they blow a trumpet, a major event will happen. So this is in the future. It hasn't happened yet. This is the future. So I will start reading it. Then the fifth angel blew his trumpet. An angel in heaven blew a trumpet. And I saw a star that had fallen to earth from the sky. Now, this verse has a different interpretation. As I have told you from the previous verses, those are asteroids. God will throw asteroids on earth. Now, this one is different. The verse said, I saw a star. Now, the star we're talking about here that is from the sky fallen to the earth is not a shining star, is not a comet. It is a person. It is an important person. The verse said, and I saw a star that had fallen to earth from the sky. This one is sent by God Himself. That's what it means. It's a star, meaning it's a special person that is from God. God sent this person. I'll continue reading. And he was given the key to the shop of the bottomless pit. Now, as you can see, this next phrase give it away that this is a person. Because the verse said, he was given the key. So as you can see, it's not really a star floating in the sky, burning. No, it's a person. He was given the key. So this person, this special person, which is like a star, God gave him a key. A key to the shop of the bottomless pit. Now, I'm going to tell you directly now, that key is the correct interpretation of the Holy Bible. This special person, which is like a star, God gave him the key. The key to all, the key to everything, is the correct knowledge of the Holy Bible. Just what I'm doing right now, teaching to you the correct meaning of this verse. This is the key. The key. This is the key to the shop of the bottomless pit. So this star or this special person has the key to the bottomless pit. The bottomless pit is millions of men. It's an army. The shop of the bottomless pit. It's a place of the earth where God's army is there. So this is special person, which is from God, God gave him the key or the power or the truth to teach to the people so that he can release the people or God's army. Let's continue reading. Bottomless pit means it's terrifying. That's why the Bible said it's a bottomless pit, because this army is a destruction. So this special person, like a star, he is from God, and God gave him the key to destruction, to open the destruction. That's what it means. When he opened it, smoke poured out, though from a huge furnace, and the sunlight and air turned dark from the smoke. So when this person, a special person, which is like a star, who is coming from God, God gave him the key to God's army. And this army is destruction. That's why it's called a bottomless pit. It's a danger, it's a destruction. When this special person who is like a star opened this destruction from God, God's army, smoke poured out. So from this place of the earth, where will it start? It will be like a smoke pouring out from like a huge furnace. So it will be like a terrible army, like a terrible power, terrible army, terrible destruction. And the sunlight and air turned dark from the smoke. So this is just the Bible, our Lord God telling to us that this event will be so terrible that the earth will seem to be on darkness because of this terrible event that will happen. So I'm repeating again the correct interpretation of this verse, which is very hidden in deep secrecy because of its very sensitive issue, and because only the true servant of God can reveal this. This is the correct meaning. A star or a special person, God will send him. He is from God. God gave him the key or the correct interpretation of the Holy Bible, just like what we're doing right now. And he can release the army of God, who is like a bottomless pit, because this army of God is so dangerous, so powerful. Only this special person or star can do it, because God gave him the key. And he can release the bottomless pit, which is God's terrible army. When he opened it, it poured out to the earth like a huge furnace, like a smoke from a huge furnace or a big fire. The power and the destruction will scatter like a smoke from a huge fire. And the sunlight and air turned dark from the smoke. It means that it will be an overwhelming destruction when this happens. So this is the meaning of this verse, which had been debated by many preachers online long time ago up to now. Now I'm telling to you what God told me, the real meaning of this verse. And another frightening thing is, I was born with a mark in my navel. I have a birthmark, which is, I think I can show it to you right now, okay? I'm gonna show it to you. I don't know if you can see it. And so from the terrible army or destruction that will rise up, that will be initiated by the star or that special person that God has chosen, events will happen next. So let's continue reading. This is the direct continuation of that first verses. So Revelation 9:3-6, New Living Translation. You can search this in Google. I'll continue reading. Then locusts came from the smoke and descended on the earth, and they were given power to sting like scorpions. Now, as I've told you, that these parts of the Holy Bible is the hardest parts. It's God buried this in very deep secrecy because of the sensitivity of this issue, of these events in the future. So I'm gonna tell you now directly to make it simple. Then locusts came from the smoke and descended on the earth. I'm gonna tell you now directly. These are not real locusts, like the one you see in swarming in the farms in YouTube or in the internet. No, these are aircrafts. Locusts, you can see they can fly. Modern war aircrafts, they can fly. God is talking about here modern war aircrafts. So the army, the terrible army that the chosen servant of God will wake up, God's terrible army, they will have locusts with them or war aircrafts with them, war airplanes with them. They have lots of them. So you can see that this army is powerful. They have money, they have military strength, they have air force. So lots of locusts or lots of war airplanes will come out from that pit that is opened up by the star or the chosen servant of God that God has sent. So let's continue reading. And they were given power to sting like scorpions. So you can see this praise give it away. They were given power to sting like scorpions because the locusts cannot sting. They just eat plants and grass. They cannot sting like scorpions. So you can see here, this phrase give it away. This is not locust. It's warplanes, jet planes, modern war machines, modern warplanes, because they can hurt. Let's continue reading. They were told not to harm the grass or plants or trees. You can see, where can you find a locust that will not eat grass or plants or trees? There's nothing. So this is not talking about real locusts. This is talking about warplanes. Modern warplanes. I'll continue reading. They were told not to harm the grass or plants or the trees, but only the people who did not have the seal of God in their foreheads. So look, this terrible army that will rise up, that is led by the chosen servant of God, they have warplanes. And these warplanes, their main target is not the forest, not the grass or the trees. It's the people. It's the evil people, the bad people who did not serve God, the true God, the only true God. As I have said, the alien God. So those people who do not have the seal of God in their foreheads, they do not have the mark of God in their foreheads. Mark of God meaning those people who have the mark of God in their foreheads, they are the one following the truth. They are the one worshiping the only true God in heaven. So the people who do not worship the only true God, they do not have the seal of God, they do idolatry. They worship statues, images, they worship false gods. They worship statues of gold, silver, bronze, wood, stone, metal. They worship these things. Religions like who's doing idolatry. Religions like Hinduism, Catholic Church, Buddhism, any religion that worship wood, stone, metal, sculptures, images, and false gods. All of this religion, they do not have the seal of God in their forehead. So, the target of this great and terrible army that God will raise up using his special servant, which is like a star, the target of this terrible great army of destruction from God, the target is those people who are worshiping false gods, who are worshiping idols.
The target are those people who do not have the seal of God in their foreheads. So these are the people who are violating the law of God. They are the target of this terrible destruction that is coming. A great army with lots of modern war aircrafts. So I'll continue reading. Verse 5. They were told not to kill them, but to torture them for 5 months with pain like the pain of a scorpion's sting. In those days, people will seek death, but will not find it. They will long to die, but death will flee for them. You see, the punishment, the suffering that God will do to those people who do not worship Him, to those people who worship stone, wood, metal, idols, sculpture, any any form of idolatry. Those people who worship all of these statues and images, false gods, all of this religion, they will be punished. They will be punished with slow and agonizing punishment. As you can see in the verse, in those days people will seek death but will not find it. They will long to die, but death will flee for them.
So, the Holy Bible is talking about this war, which one third of humanity will be killed. Yeah, it's frightening. Even me, when I read it, oh my gosh, it's frightening.
And so let's continue reading. Revelation 9 7 to 11, New Living Translation. I'll read. The locust or the war aircrafts look like horses prepared for battle. So you can see the locusts, they're not really locusts. They are like horses prepared for battle. Now, I'm going to tell you directly. This is air cavalry. You know, there's a cavalry, like old cavalry, the horses on the land. But we're talking about here in the air. They're locusts, they're flying. God is saying they look like locusts, they are flying, but they're like horses. They were talking about air cavalry here. Modern war airplanes. So the war airplane look like aerial cavalry prepared for battle. I'll continue. They had what looked like gold crowns in their head. Now what you can see here is how amazing the words of God the Creator that's written in the Holy Bible. As you can see here in the screen, God is telling to us that in our future, this book is written 2,000 years ago. I wanted to remind all of you, but look at what is saying. Look at what God is saying on this prophecy. They had what looked like gold crowns on their heads. Look, God is saying that the locusts or the war airplanes in our time, they look like aerial cavalry. They have gold crowns on their head. And if you're going to search in Google about the canopy of some of these warplanes, like the F-22, one of the most latest aircraft in the US Army, you can see that F-22 canopies are coated with a thin layer of indium tin oxide, ITO, which gives it a golden tint. So this makes me smile a bit, because I can see here the accurateness, how accurate the prophecies, the words of God, the Creator, written in the Holy Bible. So now, let's focus on this part of the verse. They had hair like women's hair. So as you can see from this picture, the prophet who's writing this part of the book of Revelation, God is showing to him, like on this aerial cavalry, there are women who has hair like women. Of course, there are women pilot even on our days, on our time right now. And the next part is, and teeth like teeth of a lion. I cannot believe the accuracy of this prophecy from God. You can see here, this is an A-10 Warthog. It's a kind of fighter plane. You can see the drawing. They put a drawing in front of the airplane. It has like big teeth. It's like a lion. Exactly what God is telling to us 2,000 years ago. Exactly you can see today. It's amazing because 2,000 years ago we do not have warplanes like this, but now you can see the accuracy of the words of God written in the Holy Bible. They were armor made of iron. So you can see, it's not really a locust because this army, aerial cavalry, aerial army, they wore armor made of iron. As you know that the war aircraft, they made of alloy. They made of different metals. They are alloy metals. You can see how exact the words of God is telling to us right now, His prophecy of our future. I'll continue reading. And their wings roared like an army of chariots rushing into battle. Oh my gosh. So you can see, it's really talking about an war airplanes. Lots and lots of them because their wings roared like an army of chariots rushing into battle. You know how powerful the jet engines of this modern war aircraft. They're so powerful. Like I've one time there's one pass by here in Sydney, Australia. We're in the opera house. It's so loud and it climbed up to the stratosphere like in seconds. It's very very fast and powerful. It's so loud. The power of these jet engines. You can see God is describing it to us. And their wings roared like an army of chariots rushing into battle. So God is describing to us the loudness of their engine. So I'll continue. Verse 10. You can see number 10 here. I'm reading right here. They had tails that stung like scorpions. And for 5 months, they had the power to torment people. So they had tails that stung like scorpions. So on a war aircraft, where do you put the missiles normally? You can see this in Google, the pictures of war aircrafts. They have missiles on their wings and on the back part. It's near their tails. They had tails that stung like scorpions. And when they release these missiles, they hurt people. So as you can see how accurate these words of God is written in the Holy Bible. For 5 months, they had the power to torment people. So just God is telling to us about the time. So let's go to this part which I did not highlight. It's verse 11. You can see the number 11 here. Their king is an angel from the bottomless pit. His name in Hebrew is Abaddon and in Greek Apollyon, the destroyer. So you can see what I'm telling to you earlier on this video. Their king is an angel from the bottomless pit. So their leader, God is telling to us, their leader is a king, an angel, or the one sent by God, the star, whose God is talking about from the start, from the bottomless pit. So their leader or their king of this terrible great army is sent by God from the bottomless pit. The bottomless pit means God's army which is hidden, which is prepared and hidden to be released for destruction. That's why it's called bottomless pit, never-ending destruction. So their leader is sent by God. His name is in Hebrew is Abaddon, and in Greek, Apollyon, the destroyer. That's so. Their leader is, God is calling him the destroyer. Of course, this army will be assembled by God for His purpose, to destroy or to kill 1/3 of humanity, human population. to destroy those who do not worship the only true God, to destroy those people who only worship the false gods, the stone, the wood, the idols, the statues, the gold, the silver, any other statue and false god. This army is designed to destroy and kill them. God is sending this terrible army to kill 1/3 of Earth's population. That's why their leader, it makes sense, God is calling their leader or their king the destroyer. It makes sense. So now you can see very clearly the true meaning of these verses.
I'm the one who's going to open the mind of the people about this. And terrible things could happen. I know, but coronavirus is already terrible. But the things written in the Holy Bible is there's much more terrible things that's going to happen.
I know that this video is already getting long, but we're getting into it because I cannot cut any part of these verses. They are connected to each other, so I need to finish it. But we're almost there. So let's hear on the next part, Revelation 9:13 to 16, New Living Translation. As I said, you can search this in Google. The sixth trumpet brings the second terror. So I'll start reading this on verse 13 here. You can see the number 13. Then the sixth angel blew his trumpet. Another angel, the sixth one, blew a trumpet. And I heard a voice is speaking from the four horns of the gold altar that stand in the presence of God. So in heaven, there is a gold altar with four horns. It stands in front of God or in the presence of God, and a voice came out when the sixth angel blew a trumpet. What did the voice said? Of course, it's showing that the voice is from God because it's in the altar of God. Verse 14. And the voice said to the sixth angel who held the trumpet. So God gave the command. God gave the command. That's what it means. Let's continue. So God said, release the four angels who are bound at the great Euphrates River. Now, to make this video short, I'm going to explain to you directly. God is saying, release the four angels. These four angels are four kings in the Middle East. Release the four angels or the four kings who are bound at the great Euphrates River. So, it is said that they are bound because they were not allowed to do anything until God says so, until God released them. So they are not really bound, like physically bound. No, God is controlling them. These four kings in the Middle East, as you know, the Middle East became very rich and powerful, even in military strength, because of the oil there. It started for the past decades. Now they're very, 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 very powerful and rich. Also, with they also have terrible armies. And so the four kings, there are four kings there that God will choose, that they will be released. As you can see, they are from the great Euphrates River. You know where the Euphrates River is in the Middle East. And the countries there which is powerful and rich because of oil, God made them powerful and rich. They are there in the Middle East, in the Euphrates River. There are four angels or four kings there that God will use and release. So let's continue reading. Then the four angels or the four kings who had been prepared for this hour and day and month and year were turned loose to kill 1/3 of all the people on earth. So this is what I've been talking about. From the part 1 and earlier in this video, 1/3 of the people of the earth will be killed. God will use this terrible army, his army, that is headed by his servant or the destroyer, which is like a star. God sent him to lead this army, and now 4 kings from the Middle East joined him. They are prepared for an exact hour and day and month. At that exact moment, God will turn them loose. With their air force, with their military power, modern aircraft, modern weaponry, missiles, and to kill 1/3 of all the people on earth. This is what I'm talking about earlier in my videos. In the coming years, a great war will come, much more terrible than the First World War and Second World War. I'll continue reading on verse 16. I heard the size of their army, which was 200 million mounted troops. Forgive me for saying this, but I've heard some videos in YouTube saying that this is an impossible number to be assembled. No, it's not. The population of Muslim alone is billion, more than a billion. I've heard it's 1.5 billion. So a 200 million army is really a realistic number to be assembled. If God will move and prepare these people really to use them to punish 1/3 of humanity just because of their mistake of worshiping idols, false god, wood, stone, they worship stone, wood, and metal sculptures. They do not worship the true God. If God was going to raise a 200 million army, strong army, it's very easy. This number is very accurate and it's very realistic. And it's really possible because 200 million is nothing compared to 1.5 billion, which is the population of Muslims around the world. As you can see, God is really telling to us accurately the truth. And so, I think I have shared enough. And so this is my New Year video to all of you. Thank you very much. I'm Brother Ismael Tuazon. God put a mark on my belly, like a fire. I think it's like a sign to show that that I was born to serve God and to teach people. I think that's what this means. So thank you very much. I hope you learned something from this video, and God bless all of us. Thank you. God be praised. Amen.